Let's first talk about Shiba Inu.
Sure.
For context, Shiba Inu was created in August 2020, modeled off of Dogecoin by the anonymous founder known as Ryoshi. On May 10th this year, it had a market capitalization of over 13 billion. And maybe you can explain this, but in a crazy move, you were given half of SHIB's total supply. You burned, aka destroyed, 90% of it. That's worth $6.7 billion. And you donated 10%. That's worth $1.2 billion at the time to an India COVID-19 relief fund, saying you don't want to be the locus of this much power. This is fascinating. Why and how were you able to walk away from this much money and this much power?
I should probably start by giving some of the backstory around these coins and this concept of giving me coins. So first of all, Shiba Inu, as you said, is this kind of knockoff of Dogecoin, right? And Dogecoin was this initial kind of fun coin that was created back, I think, around 2014 or so. And it was just created by Jackson Palmer, put it out as a joke for a couple of hours, and a community formed around it. And at the beginning, people didn't take it very seriously. I actually remember putting about $25,000 into Doge sometime around 2016, and I just remember just thinking to myself, like, okay, how am I going to explain to my mom that I just invested $25,000 into dog coins? And what even are dog coins? Like, the only interesting thing about this coin is that there's, a logo of a dog somewhere. But, of course, that ended up being one of the best investments I've ever made. And it did really well. And then at the end of 2020, Elon Musk, of course, started talking about Dogecoin. And the market cap just shot up to about $50 billion. Actually, and it shot up multiple times, right? Like the first time it went up from about 0.8 cents to about 7 cents. And this just happened all in one day. And I remember this was when I was still in Singapore in the middle of COVID. And I saw that the price just went up by 1,000%. And I was like, oh my God, my Doge is worth a lot. And so I immediately called up some of my friends and told them to drop everything and scramble. And I sold half the Doge, and I got $4.3 million, donated the proceeds to give directly. And a few hours after I did this, the price dropped back down from about 7 cents to 4 cents, right? So I managed to sell the Doge at the top, and I remember just feeling like I was such an amazing trader. But then, of course, the price went up from 4 cents, then to 7, and then 50, and just Doge becoming this big phenomenon where there's even a lot of people that have heard of Doge that have not heard of Ethereum. It's just something even I wasn't predicting, right? And so after that, of course, we have Doge, and then people are thinking, well, if the leading dog token is worth $50 billion, then surely the second largest dog token deserves, at least 7 or 8 billion, right? I feel like that's kind of what the mindset of these Shiba people is. So then, of course, they did this other gimmick, right, where they gave me half the Shiba token supply. They were actually not the first project to do this. So around the end of 2020, there was this weird project called Teller. It's Tellor. I think they're a Chainlink competitor or something like this. But I remember they just dumped $50,000 worth of their token into my wallet, and then they had their Twitter army just basically run around saying, look at Vitalik's wallet. Vitalik holds Tellers. He's one of us. He's a supporter. And as soon as I discovered this, I just publicly sold the Teller tokens on Uniswap, and this created a bit of a Twitter splat. Now, the Shiba people were more clever. The Shiba people, instead of dumping to that wallet, they dumped to my cold wallet, right? So in cryptocurrency, right, there's this concept of cold wallets and hot wallets. Basically, the thing that actually owns your money is this 80-digit number called a private key, right? And a hot wallet is when that private key is just stored in memory on your computer, on your phone, really easy to access. Cold wallet means it's either written down on a piece of paper, or it's on a computer that's just never accessed the internet, right? So cold is very inconvenient, but cold is also much more secure, right? Because even if that computer has some viruses on it, it's air gapped, it's not actually going to be able to upload it. So this cold wallet, and all the money's out of the cold wallet, so it's safe for me to talk about my setup now, right? But it was a laptop that was sitting in Canada, and I also had 2 pieces of paper where I wrote down 2 numbers on those 2 pieces of paper. One was with me, one was in Canada. And if you add those 2 numbers together, you get the private key. So because of COVID travel restrictions, and this cold wallet's in Canada, like it's very difficult for me to actually access it, right? And I'm not sure if they knew this. Maybe they just got lucky. But like basically they sent a lot of these dog tokens into this wallet where it was very difficult for me to access it. But then I saw these dog tokens, I saw more and more people talking about them, and then at some point I realized that like, hey, these things are worth billions of dollars, and like, there's lots of really good things that you could do with that amount of money, and it would actually be a waste to just like see it go. So I made the decision that like I would actually power through and figure out how to like safely like basically get my private key. I actually had to call up my family, tell them to read out their number off of their piece of paper. I entered that into a fresh laptop that I bought from Target. Then I put in my other number on my piece of paper, added the 2 numbers together on the computer. There's the key. And at the same time, like just scrambled for 2 days, setting up a new wallet where I could move my ETH to safely, like getting people to be multi-sig partners, just like doing all sorts of like stuff that 10 years ago you would expect to just be part of a cyberpunk science fiction novel, but now it's all real.
So you're doing this all by yourself, essentially.
Most of it by myself. So
you have to keep it secret,
right? And I needed my family to actually like go and read the number on their piece of paper, and then in my new multi-sig wallet, like there's other people that are signatories, but I'm obviously not going to reveal any details beyond that. So I did this, right, and I actually managed to get the private key, make the first transaction that would just move all my Ether to the multi-sig wallet, so it's safe, and then second put the private key on my main computer, then started like going in and just selling some of the dog tokens, and then just like giving them to these different charities. Now, at the time, I actually did not even like have any idea of how much you would be able to get, right? Because like on paper, the dog tokens are $7 billion, but like in reality, it's a very liquid market. Are you going to crash it by after you sell 1 million worth? Are you going to crash it after 10 million? Are you going to might you actually be able to get like an entire 200 million? I had no idea. So I definitely was just of the mindset like, okay, I'll sell a bit, maybe get some ETH, and then donated some ETH to give well, donated some to other groups, and then okay, have some dog tokens. Like I don't have an easy ability to sell more myself, but then I'll just like give them to these groups, and hopefully they'll do good things with them. It was actually, I actually donated 20% and dumped 80%. Yeah, so the COVID India group got one batch, and then there's another group that got another batch. And I don't want to say who they are because I think that they want to announce themselves at some point.
Sure. Can we return to dogs?
Sure.
No.
The other one's categorically forbidden?
Yeah, categorically forbidden. Is there any cryptocurrency based on cats, actually?
I think there are. There was cat coin, there was nan coin. For some reason, they just didn't catch on as much as the dog coins did.
Okay, so let's talk about Dogecoin and Elon Musk. Elon said that, quote, ideally, Doge speeds up block time 10x, increases block size 10x, and drops fee 100x. Then it wins hands down, end quote. You said in a blog post, partially responding to that there are subtle technical reasons why this is not possible. To this, Elon said that you, quote, fear the Doge. So let's talk about this. What are the technical hurdles for Dogecoin that prevent it from becoming one of the primary cryptocurrencies of the world? And do you, in fact, fear the Doge?
I definitely feel obligated to correct the record. I definitely do not fear the Doge.
Okay.
I love the Doge. I actually visited the Doge in Japan a few years back. It's she's an amazing dog. She's still alive.
Wait, the original Doge?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, we accept Doge every year for our annual DEF CON conferences. So, I mean, I definitely, don't think Ethereum is opposed to Dogecoins. I kind of want to feel like, Ethereum is at least a little bit in spirit itself a Dogecoin. And then, as I mentioned, I love Doge. I bought a bunch of Doge. I still hold a bunch of Doge. On the scalability question, like the challenge basically is like the limits to scalability and the trade-offs with centralization, right? Like if you just increase the parameters without doing anything else, then it just becomes more and more difficult for people to validate the chain, and it just becomes more likely that the chain becomes centralized and becomes vulnerable to all kinds of capture.
Mm-hmm. So does it need like some of the layer 2 technologies that we've been talking about?
I personally think that, if Doge wants to somehow bridge to Ethereum and then people can trade Doge thousands of times a second inside of Loopring, then, that would be amazing. If they want to just like take ZK rollup style technology and just have thousands of transactions a second on their own chain, then that's, that would be a great outcome as well.
So is there ways for Ethereum and Dogecoin to work together? So, okay, so there's a power behind a person like Elon Musk pushing the development of a cryptocurrency. Is there ways to leverage that power and that momentum to improve Ethereum, to improve some of the sort of cryptocurrencies that are already technologically advanced and pushing forward that kind of technology?
I definitely think there's room for...
there's that meme of Doge like taking over, that storm.
Yes, I've seen it.
Is there a way to ride that storm, that wave of the Doge that's taking over?
I think if we can have a secure Doge to Ethereum bridge, then that would be amazing. And then when Ethereum gets its scalability, any scalability thing that works for Ethereum assets, you would be able to also like trade wrapped Doge with extremely low transaction fees and very high speed as well.
Is there precedence for building secure bridges between cryptocurrencies? How difficult is this kind of task?
It's definitely something that's in its infancy. There definitely have been some cross-chain interaction things that have been done before. The earliest is probably the concept of merge mining, right? When a chain just makes its entire proof of work algorithm dependent on the proof of work algorithm of another chain. And so I think famous Dogecoin actually merge mines to Litecoin, which is, I think in retrospect, not looking like a very good choice because now Dogecoin is bigger than Litecoin. If there's potentially some way for Dogecoin to merge mine with an Ethereum proof of stake of some kinds, then like that could be an interesting alternative. So that's one type of like chain interaction. As far as like bridges, like one chain reading another chain, early in Ethereum's history, there was this project called BTC Relay. It's a smart contract on Ethereum that just verifies Bitcoin blocks. I think people stopped really caring about and maintaining it because there just weren't enough applications that were actually interested in using it at the time, and then the transaction fees got too high to actually maintain it. So I think if we want to make a BTC Relay 2.0 and that becomes cheaper because it uses snarks or something like that, then you probably could. And maybe now's the time when you actually can do that sort of one-way verification. But the one challenge, though, is that if you want to have a bridge that allows you to move assets between chains, then you don't just need one-way verification, you need two-way verification, right? And Ethereum can verify anything because Ethereum smart contracts can just run arbitrary code. But if you want Bitcoin to be able to do things based on what happens in Ethereum lands, then Bitcoin would have to basically, they can do everything with soft forks because that's their religion, but they'll do it that way. And if Doge wants to make a fork where that allows for two-way transferability with Ethereum, then they could. I think that would be a lovely collaboration to make if there's interest. I think there might actually even be some multi-sig funds that has some funding. It's just a bounty for someone to make a bridge between the two.
Oh. Could you maybe try to psychoanalyze Elon Musk for a brief second? So what are your thoughts about Tesla and Elon Musk's journey through the cryptocurrency world? So first with Bitcoin and then with Dogecoin. So holding a large amount of Bitcoin. And I believe, at least considering the acquiring and holding a large amount of Dogecoin. Positives, negatives, what do you think the future for Tesla and SpaceX in the cryptocurrency space looks like? Do you think they'll consider Ethereum?
I'm sure that if they stay in the cryptocurrency ecosystem at all, then they have to at some point. Right? Bitcoin #1, Dogecoin come on, it deserves to be number 3, and then or number 2, and then Ethereum can be whatever that other number is.
If Ethereum only becomes a dog coin somehow, maybe change the logo to incorporate a dog of some sort, almost like Doge, sneaking behind.
Oh, that would be fascinating.
When the merge happens.
And I think Elon, you definitely, I think you would make a mistake if you were to kind of ascribe too much sophisticated malevolent or any intent deep intentionality to the whole process. I think he's just a human being and he likes dogs just like I like dogs.
Yeah,
right?
I think that is literally the reasoning behind the whole Dogecoin thing. There's some aspect to which, the guy helped launch a car into space, right? You could ask what is the purpose of that? I think the purpose of that is fun. I think he truly is more and more, especially lately, embodying the whole idea that the most entertaining outcome is the most likely, and he's fully embracing the most entertaining outcome. And in many ways, Dogecoin is the most entertaining cryptocurrency. As cryptocurrency becomes more and more impactful in the world, people are getting more and more serious about it. And so he's selecting the cryptocurrency that is the least serious and the most fun. And there's something to that, like coupling fun with technological sophistication, and somehow figuring out a way to do that.
Absolutely.
To do that well.
I want the world to be fun. I think the world being fun is great.